All right, everyone. My name is Pascal Borel, and I'm talking to you from the Swiss mountains, the Swiss Alps. I'm in Central Valais at the moment, and it's a place, well, you don't see the mountains around me, but I would strongly advise you to visit it. Because visiting Central Valais and the valleys and the mountains which are around, it's a beauty of Switzerland. It's one of the greatest places you can visit. But anyway, I'm not here to make any publicity for Central Valais or Valais as a whole. I'm here to illustrate how dysfunctional the legal framework is in Switzerland today. And for that, I'm going to use a personal example, which I have lived through over the last few days. And please, I'm going to mention the names of a certain number of people. They all have a free access to my platform if they want to use it to justify their actions or to explain why have they been putting in place what I've been the victim of to some extent. And but all that is water to my mill because clearly it just illustrates how indispensable the restructuring and the rewriting of the foundations of the governance systems that we live in is indispensable. And only a profound recreation of the platform that unite us all human beings into the most fantastic collaborative species on earth that earth has ever produced is indispensable. Back to the facts. I am renting this flat in Verbier for the best of 4 or 5 years now. And I was paying a monthly fee of 1,500 Swiss franc, which is about equivalent in euro or in dollars. Very close, put it this way. And the flat is completely, in inverted comma, dysfunctional as well, because I don't have any cooking plate that function properly. I don't have a washing machine. The bathroom is falling apart. Uh, and. I'm not giving you any pictures. I don't want to put people in an awkward position by showing really what it was. But it's the place I've written the book 2024 in. Great memories nevertheless. And the place was managed in inverted comma by a company, a real estate company in Verbier. But then the owner of the place has sold the place to a company called Solferino Investment SA, that stands for Société Anonyme or LTD, whatever, in Verbier. And of course, they want to make more money out of it. I have a signed renting contract, which is with a defined duration, which means that despite me knowing it, they can legally throw me out the way they want and or increase the rent. Okay, but there are laws in Switzerland that protects people renting a flat, i.e., the new owner, unless he comes and lives himself into the place, cannot, in inverted comma, throw out the current people renting the flats. And he cannot increase the rent by more than 10-15% a year. I can't remember, but all this is well defined by law. Okay, so Mr. Jimmy Gotthard calls me and he explains, his financial position, which I accept. And we decide that he presents me with the contract, i.e., doubling the rent and payable 1 year in advance. Okay. So it's a bit tough to swallow, but I accept. So the gentleman comes to my place. I offer him a coffee. We have a great discussion. He leaves me with the contract that you will see in a second appearing on your screen. Sorry, it's in French, but you can translate it if you wish. It's a simple one, but it's completely out of the legal framework. So, to my surprise, okay, we leave each other. I keep the contract. I say, Jimmy, leave me a few days and I'll come back with the signed contract. I'm preparing to pay the whole thing, blah, 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 blah. And eventually, 2 or 3 days, 3, 4 days after the visit, I receive the physical presence, or the police forces are coming to my place to tell me that I'm being thrown out of the place, despite the fact that a new contract is just about to be signed. And I'm a bit puzzled. What's going on? We have a deal ongoing, ready to be signed, and yet they've already used the legal framework to make me leave the place. It is their call. They have spilled the first blood, not me. So I call my lawyer and I say, look, I wouldn't call him a personal friend, but we share a lot of common ideas about the way the legal framework should be evolving in the years to come. Anyway, and he says, no, but they're not entitled to do that. I'm going to call for the judge because you have very strong chances of winning the case. Okay. To my surprise, the judge, Mrs. Camille Remermet, and her clerk, Melanie Favre, they asked me to pay them directly in order for the law to be applied to my case, i.e., if I don't pay for justice fees in advance, and they're calling for 1,000 Swiss franc, $1,000. And as I completely distrust the capacity of Switzerland to apply the law, I refuse paying before they make a move. Or they give me an idea. They just have to open the article of laws in order to see that, yeah, of course, I'm in my right. But if I don't pay them directly, which is a form of corruption, direct corruption, pay me and I will apply the law. And if you don't pay me directly, well, the law will not exist for you, and I'm not, as a judge, Mrs. Camille Remermet will not apply the law if I don't pay her directly. It's a reverse world. I mean, it's a completely, you know, upside down legal system. If you bribe the judge, you'll have access to the articles of law. But if you don't bribe the judge, and they made it institutional, they're going to send me a bill for 1,000, and if I don't pay it, the law will not apply to my case. So we're not a state of law anymore. Switzerland is so corrupt that even at the judge level, if you don't pay them directly, the articles of law will not apply to your case. That's a fact. It's crazy, but that's the way. Anyway, so uh, okay, I receive a few calls from the police forces, which are signifying my expulsion from the place I rent and I live in since the best of 4 or 5 years. Excuse me. In fact, I couldn't dream of a better situation. Why? Because it's water to my mill. It just illustrates what the people are apt to despite the law, or the incapacity of judges to apply simply the law and the articles of law which exist into the system. And let's face it, the Solverino Investment SA company in Verbier, managed by Mr. Benoit Vaudan, who is the local of the stage, Nicolas Luciano Koch, Florian Martin Steiger, and Leonardo Roberto Gorini. Those gentlemen are certainly managing their company quite well. But the business model is to create juridic structures such as foundations, real estate companies, PLC, LTDs, or whichever, in order to delay the payment of the taxes and so forth. It's an optimization, it's a tax optimization type company, and rightly so, because protecting yourself from the institutionalized theft of the state today is the name of the game. Otherwise, you don't survive. And, God bless them for doing it. It's great to some extent. But yet, in my case, Florian Steiger is a personal friend. We've traveled through Africa together, sleeping in tents for weeks with his wife, Valérie Steiger, who's a cardiologist in Payerne, Switzerland. She's a great lady, probably a very good doctor as well. And I cannot imagine they treating, or Florian treating a personal friend the way I am. Or if that is the case, good grief, I would not want to be a client of Solferino Investment SA in Verbier. Because if they're treating a friend in such a way, man, how do they treat their clients? People that they haven't probably traveled with for weeks under the tents in Africa, in many different countries, by the way. So, but they are literally handcuffed, behaving like cowboys because the legal framework allows them to put as a top priority the financial constraints that they have to make not even their company richer, but to make themselves richer on a, you know, voila. Anyway, I'm not giving you anything more. Fact of the matter is, okay, so I stay in the place. Of course, I've cut paying my rent because in theory they want 3,000, and I'm going to give you a few anecdotes about it. So I stay there until I'm contact, and let's face it, I will show you all the documents received from the court, from the judge, Camille Mermet, and Mr. Pierre Gapani, who's another judge, which has fooled me on several occasions. And not because they are bad people, but because they are constrained to behave according to the code of procedure, which specifies, because it's been institutionalized in Switzerland, that if they're not getting paid directly, law will not apply. And you probably still think that Switzerland is an example of democracies, of direct democracies, that we have a right to referendums and. Man, let's face it, Switzerland is a pure cash machine, and even the law functions and operates according to financial interests only. If you don't pay them directly, you will not have access to the articles of law that protects you, protects the citizens, or are meant to do. No, you will not have access to it. So, long story short, I'm getting into a position whereby the police forces are calling me to signify my expulsion, to signify that I'm going to be thrown out of the place last Wednesday. So I prepare everything in my place. I put all the bags out and so forth, my yurt, my expedition material, which I'm going to do a few videos when I'm all set up in my next location. And you'll love it, by the way. And the police forces are coming. And I wanted to do a few videos, but you know, I respect police forces because in Switzerland, at the least, they are good people. Mr. Ray, who's the highest ranked officer among all the policemen that came up, I don't want to put him into a bad situation position. So I didn't shoot any video. I wanted to, but again, I don't want to put our great police forces, which are there, let me remind you, to apply the rules or to defend the rules that unite us in the most amazing collaborative species that has ever walked the earth. And I want to respect those people because they're doing a very difficult job in inverted comma. They have to apply the rules. But today, the problem is they're not here to protect and to serve the citizens. No, they are here as the puppets at the disposal of the state, of the legal framework to defend purely financial interests despite the law. Despite the law. So they are involved in a form of scam, which basically kills the citizens rather than protecting and serving them as it is their mission to do. Anyway, so I receive the people, and all my staff is outside, and we are going to leave the place. Now, you must understand that the people of Solverino Investment SA in Verbier are not bad people. They are driven by the remorseless search for cash that they have at the center of their corporate culture and business model to some extent. That is a clear case. And as I said, I would not want to be one of their clients if they treating close friends in this manner. This is crazy. So you have to understand those are not bad people, but they are pushed by the legal framework to misbehave or to behave like bloody cowboys, and excuse me for my language. And they are driven by the legal framework, which is being used not to protect the citizens, but clearly to protect financial interests. And this is why we absolutely need the system to die and to be rewritten from the very foundation, from scratch, at the service of the citizens, at your service, at the service of the people, for the people. And this is why I'm organizing now the constitutional walks, which we're going to start in probably less than 3 weeks, very beginning of May. And we already have thousands of people in the community of Forovet 24, which are committed to join us in order to rewrite the constitution and the legal framework. We need the civilization, literally, or the nations that have a future are those in which all citizens are equal before the law, before the constitution, before the value of money, and before taxes. And if we do those four things, we're in business and we're giving a future to our kids. And this is what we're going to do, because it is unacceptable that you have to bribe the judges for having access to the law. This is not on. This is crazy. I pay for the legal apparatus through my taxes, but yet I will only have access to it if I bribe and pay the legal apparatus a second time. And this is what you call an example of direct democracy. This is what you still call an example of good legal framework. Man, this is a bloody cash machine. Switzerland is a pure cash machine in which the law is not even applied if you don't pay for the judges directly. And they're not even ashamed. They don't even realize that this is corruption. No, no, no. But it's in the process, in the code of procedure. If you don't pay a second time, the law exists, but it will not be applied by Judge Camille Ray Mermet or Pierre Gapani for you. No way. No way. Anyway, long story short, I'm out of my place at the moment. I'm going to be living under a fabulous yurt with all the electronics that I need, all the kitchen, the fireplace, and so forth. I'll do a few videos to illustrate my point. And we are going to rewrite the constitution, rewrite the legal framework, and we will impose it through the constitutional walks. Let me remind you that walking is the strongest of weapons that has allowed the human species to leave the African rift. We're all coming from there. Like 800,000 years ago, and then 80,000 years ago. And walking has allowed us to conquer each and every environment that we live in today, that the planet has put at our disposal. It's great. And we are going to use the same weapon that has allowed the species to conquer the world in order to rewrite the uh, government rewrite the governance system that unite us rather than dividing us like it does today. Today we are totally divided, but proposing wars, inflation, more taxes, the theft of your personal saving, like Europe is just about to do by stealing $800 billion, euro equivalent, to create weapons. The governments, Mrs. van der Leyen and all the people involved in governing our societies, but suggesting wars, they don't offer anything. And this is why we are going to do the constitutional walks, because a few heroes, like we can see in the United States today, giving back a third party oversight principle to all citizens, i.e., a transparency on how your money is being used by the governments, it will not be enough. We need the will of the people. And we only need the will of the people as an amount of 5% of the 3.5 and to 5% of the total population. Our governments will not resist that. They will be forced to do what is right for the people, for the citizens, for you. And this is what I'm up to. So my whole video is just there to illustrate that when the legal framework doesn't serve the interest of the people, it becomes your enemy. You should not respect it as they don't respect you, because you pay for the legal framework, therefore it belongs to you. When you pay for something, it belongs to you. It doesn't belong to the politicians. It cannot be weaponized the way it is today to defend financial interests only. No. When you pay for something, you have a third-party oversight principle that is given to what you have paid for. And everything that comes out of the legal apparatus should be available to you. And this is what I'm advocating for. And this is what we're going to put in place in the next few weeks. My friend, that's about it for today. May I thank you for your kind and benevolent attention. May peace be with you and all human beings of the planet. Peace out.